Hi, welcome to my workstation. I'm working on a drawing based off of a photograph of my maternal grandfather here. His name is Philip Lakis, and he's holding my mother. This was taken in 1955. It's part of a larger project I'm working on that focuses on him. I never met him. He passed away before I was born due to complications related to AIDS. And so this project is about looking at his memory, his life, imagining the relationship we could have had as grandfather and grandson.
How old was he?
In this picture, he would have been 35. So this was just after my mom was coming home from the hospital, my mom thinks. My mom's a twin, and her twin sister isn't in this photo, so maybe he was taking one at a time. But I'm looking at a lot of photos from that era of my family's life, so the 50s through the 60s. This is my mom and her twin sister here in their matching outfits, and works like this. So this is him on the left, a bit earlier in his life. I don't exactly know when this was taken, and this was me just last year at a friend's wedding. And I have other works here. These are lithographs, so these are types of prints. So this is based off of another photograph of him. And then I can show you a second one where I've overlaid some color on it using a color lithography process. So playing with color, black and white, and photo transfers, because photographs are the basis of a lot of this work. And then this one, which kind of involves my own photography with some writing, and this is another lithograph. So I took the photo at the top here and transferred it onto the lithographic stone. Went for it. This is in blue, and then I have another one in black over there. This is an ongoing project, so these are kind of the beginning pieces of a larger body of work.
Would you like to read us what you wrote?
Sure. So this work is called In This Room in Athens. And so this is kind of a bit of the foundation of this project is me having conversations with my grandfather. So the Greek word for grandfather is papou, P-A-P-O-U. So if I were to call this project anything, I'm considering calling it Talking to Papou. So this is me writing a letter to him, thinking about my experience in Athens 3 years ago, and thinking about his times in Greece, or his times as a young man or an older man in his life. And so it reads, Dear Papou, in this room in Athens, I met another Greek boy today. He showed me around his neighborhood, Exarchia. He bought us Cokes and 2 tiropitas. That's what's inside the plastic bag. And we ended up here. In this room in Athens, we kissed, we touched, we felt the blast of air conditioning on our skin. We did not think of shame, we did not think of sickness, we only thought of joy. In this room in Athens, I wondered about the times you felt this type of joy. I hope you did. Forgive me if this is too personal. Zachapo, which means I love you, Austin. So a bit more of a personal work here about the relationship between my grandfather and I, but kind of grounds this larger project in the idea of how he passed, which was complications related to AIDS, wondering what sort of future we could have had he rather lived longer, had times been different, had that epidemic not killed so many people, and in that thinking about all the other families across Canada who face similar losses through loved ones who passed away through that disease. So over here I have a few books that have kind of been like inspiring me and I brought to Port Union with me. So this is a great one about queer archiving by a publication author, Gender Fail. This is a book of essays by an art writer, Simon Wu. So essays on art, collectivity, and joy. A lot here is about family and about queer experience today. This is a collection of poetry, All My Teachers Died of AIDS by Sam Moore. I have yet to start this, but I'm hoping to during the residency. And And some of the sort of like visual language that I like to borrow from are from zines. So this is a really cool publication, which is just like an anthology of queer zines that have been produced around the world. And so I like to take from that sort of aesthetic in my work going forward. That's kind of where like the print practice comes in. So the sort of lithographs that I showed over here, kind of using that visual aesthetic from zines and from sort of this ephemeral art, I guess, art that's not meant to last necessarily.
How do you find that people respond to your project?
Well, this is very much a project in progress. I started it last spring, so just about a year ago. And I haven't shown it yet anywhere. I've only really shared it with friends and family. And so far, it's been a very cathartic experience, not just for myself, but for my other family members, namely my mom, who I don't think was able to talk about her father in this way a lot. And of course, growing up, I heard about him a lot, and I always felt some sort of connection based on things that my mom told me that we both liked. For example, we both like gardening. We're both interested in art. Although my grandfather wasn't an artist himself, he supported a lot of museums and kind of local cultural societies in Oshawa, Ontario, which is where my mother is from. And so there was always this kind of connection between us. And then when I had learned that he had passed away from AIDS-related complications, it was moments after I came out as queer to my family. And so that was kind of a big moment of me where this person that I had all this interest in, suddenly I had a profound kind of connection to him in this very somber way, but a way that's allowed me to really explore that part of my family's past, as well as this sort of broader conversation about loss during the HIV and AIDS epidemic and the legacies that are still ongoing around HIV and AIDS in Canada. Yeah, so it's been a very cathartic experience. Just last month, I went to the LGBTQ archives in Toronto, and I was able to see a lot of really cool archival material that helped kind of broaden the scope and broaden the perspective of what I'm looking at. Because while this is rooted in family, it's very much branching out into this broader conversation. And that's the goal, anyway.
What do you think your grandfather would think if he lived and he was still alive?
Well, if he was still alive, I don't think I would be doing this project, which is a really interesting thing to think about. I think the way that he passed away, the disease that he passed away from, was very kind of stuck in its time. I don't know if I would have even thought to do this if I had met him, or if he had lived, say if he was still alive. If he was still alive, he would be 125 years old. 105 years old. Yeah, I mean, if he would be alive, I don't think I'd be doing this project in the first place. But when I told my parents that I was starting this project about a year and a half ago, and I was kind of thinking about it for the first time, and I applied to a grant with the Canada Council, and I fully acknowledge their support for letting me do this project. I told my parents about it, and after some initial hesitation from my mom, she said he would be proud that I was doing this, and to quote her, that it was no longer the 1980s. So that was very reassuring and very special. And since then, we've had a lot of conversations about him, and of course, not just about how he passed away, but about the life he lived, about his interests, and that's been very special to explore.
You're here until April.
Yeah, I'm here until April 30th, and I'm going to be doing a workshop on April 26th. I'm going to be showing how to do photo transfers like this. So as I mentioned, this is a lithograph, but I'm going to be showing people how to take a simple black and white photocopied image and transfer it onto a surface to create a collage or a new artwork. So I'm very excited for that. And every Thursday, Union House Arts has Makers Nights, which are drop-in creative hours for anybody in the community to come on in and work on a craft or an art project. We had our first one this past Thursday, a couple days ago, so that was very fun. But yeah, I'm here until the 30th of April.
And in Oshawa, you will go back to school, or?
So I live in Montreal. I will be going back there after this is over. But my parents still live in Oshawa, so I'll probably visit them in the summer. But in Montreal, I work at a museum, and I'll continue my art practice there part-time. And looking forward to continuing this project because it's very much ongoing.
How can people find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Austin, AUSTIN, HNDRSN, kind of a shortened version of my last name. I also have a website, which is austinhenderson.ca.